I am 90 years old today. 90 years. And if you ask me what I am most proud of in all my life, it is not the money I made, not the house I built, not the cars I drove. It is the trees I planted when I was younger than you. Today I am going to tell you a secret that very few people in this modern world understand anymore. A secret that my grandfather whispered to me when I was just a small boy, sitting under the shade of an old neem tree in our village. He told me something that changed everything. He said, "Child, do you see this tree? This tree will outlive me. It will outlive you. And long after we are gone, this tree will be feeding people, healing people, giving them shade, giving them strength." I did not fully understand then. I was 6 years old. But as I grew older, as I watched my grandfather's trees grow bigger and stronger, as I saw my father harvest from those same trees and feed our family, something clicked in my heart. I realized that planting a tree is not just an act. It is a promise. It is a covenant with the future. It is a way of saying to the next generation, I was here. I cared. I left something behind for you. Now I have lived long enough to see the power of this truth with my own eyes. I have watched children whose grandparents planted trees benefit from those trees without even knowing who planted them. I have seen sick people healed by fruits from trees I planted 50 years ago. I have seen families survive difficult seasons because of the income from these trees. And I want to share with you today the 5 trees that have given my family what I call a salary. A salary that requires no work, no boss, no fancy office, no stress. Just patience, just faith, just the willingness to plant something today that you will not fully enjoy until you are much older, or perhaps never enjoy at all. But your children will, your grandchildren will. And that, my friend, is the real treasure. Let me start with the first tree, the one that I planted when I was just 23 years old, and I did not even know why I was planting it. It was a mango tree. My father placed the seed in my hand and said, "This is your tree now. Take care of it." I watered it every morning before work. I watched it grow so slowly that sometimes I felt frustrated. It took 6 years before it produced even a single fruit. 6 years of patience. But then, when it finally started bearing fruit, oh my goodness, it never stopped. A mango tree can live for 100, sometimes 200 years. And in good years, a single mango tree can produce 300 to 400 mangoes. Now you might be thinking, these are just fruits. How is this a salary? Let me explain. In my village, mangoes are not just food. They are medicine. They are wealth. During mango season, a family can sell the harvest and have income for months. Or you can dry the mangoes, preserve them, sell them throughout the year. My mango tree has given my family continuous income for nearly 70 years now. 70 years. And it is still producing. When I plant a mango tree today, I am planting a machine that will generate income for generations I will never even meet. The second tree is something that surprised even me with its power. It is the coconut tree. Ah, the coconut tree. This is the tree that my people call the tree of life. And now I understand why. A coconut tree can live for 80 years or more, and a single tree can produce 50 to 80 coconuts per year. But here is what most people do not realize. You do not just get coconuts. You get the water inside, which is pure nutrition. You get the meat for cooking, for making oil, for making milk. You get the husk for fiber and fuel. You get the leaves for building, for weaving baskets, for making brooms. You get the trunk for wood. Nothing is wasted. Nothing. My grandfather used to say that the coconut tree is the most generous teacher of abundance. It teaches you that one plant can provide everything you need. In the past 40 years, the coconut trees on my property have generated income that has helped educate 3 grandchildren, repair my home, and provide stability during times when the outside world was uncertain. When you plant a coconut tree, you are planting security. Now the third tree, this one is special to me because it taught me something deeper than just money. It is the neem tree. The neem tree is the healer. In our traditional medicine, the neem tree has been used for thousands of years. Every part of it has healing power. The leaves for skin diseases and infections. The seeds for controlling pests in your garden. The bark for fever and pain. The oil for wounds and inflammation. A neem tree can live for 200 years. 200 years. And it grows even in poor soil where other trees will not survive. When I was young, my mother used neem leaves to treat my cuts and wounds. When I became a father, I did the same with my children. Now my grandchildren do the same with their children. This tree has not just given us economic value, it has given us health. It has kept us from depending on expensive medicines and doctors. It is a tree of self-sufficiency. And if you understand this, if you truly understand this, you realize that the real wealth is not in rupees or dollars. The real wealth is in health and independence. The neem tree gives you both. The fourth tree requires patience, but the rewards are beyond measure. It is the apple tree, or if you live in a warmer climate, the guava tree. These are the productive trees. A guava tree can start producing fruit within 2 to 3 years. Can you imagine? You plant it while you are young, and by the time you are old enough to really need passive income, it is producing abundantly. A single guava tree can give you 30 to 40 kilograms of fruit per year. That is food for your family. That is income from sales. That is gifts you can give to friends and neighbors, which builds your social wealth, your relationships. And the guava tree is tough. It survives droughts. It survives poor soil. It survives neglect. It is the tree of the common person, not the rich person who can afford expensive fruit. When I was struggling financially in my middle years, it was the guava and apple trees that kept my family fed. They gave us dignity. They gave us the ability to provide for ourselves without begging anyone for help. And finally, the fifth tree, and this one might surprise you. It is the banana tree. Now, banana trees are not technically trees. They are giant herbs, but they deserve to be on this list because they work differently from the others. A banana tree can start producing fruit within 9 months to 1 year. 1 year, and they produce multiple bunches in a single year. They are the fastest path to income among all these plants. A single banana plant can produce 15 to 20 kilograms of fruit per year. You can eat them, sell them fresh, dry them, make them into different products. And here is the beautiful part. When you harvest bananas from a plant, the plant does not die. It produces new shoots that will fruit again. It is the most generous producer. And if you plant multiple banana trees, you can have harvest every single month. It is like having a part-time job that works while you sleep. For someone just starting out, someone who does not have much land or patience, the banana tree is the bridge. It is the tree that will sustain you while you wait for the mango and coconut trees to mature. Now let me tell you something that I have learned over my 90 years. These 5 trees, when you plant them together, they create a system. They create what I call the forest of stability. You have the fast producers like banana, which give you immediate results and motivation to keep going. You have the medium producers like guava and apple, which give you steady income as they mature. And you have the long-term generators like mango, coconut, and neem, which are your pension, your inheritance that you leave behind. When I started planting these trees at 23 years old, I had no formal education in farming. I had no money to invest in expensive technologies. I just had my hands, some seeds, some faith, and a willingness to do something that would benefit people I would never meet. Do you know what happened in my life because of these trees? I became healthier because I had access to fresh, natural food. I became wealthier because I had passive income that allowed me to take risks in other areas of my life. I became wiser because I had to learn about soil, water, seasons, patience, planning for the future. I became more connected to my community because people started coming to me asking for fruits, asking for advice, asking for neem leaves for their illnesses. The trees made me into a better person. But here is the part that touches my heart the most. When I look at my grandchildren today, I see them playing under the shade of trees that my grandfather planted. They are eating fruit from trees that their great-grandfather planted. They do not know the names of those ancestors, but they are benefiting from their love, from their vision, from their simple act of planting a seed. And now that I am old, now that I am thinking about my legacy, I realize that the richest thing I can give my family is not money in a bank. It is these trees. It is the knowledge of how to care for them. It is the understanding that real wealth grows slowly, deeply, and generationally. I want to give you some practical wisdom now. If you decide to plant these 5 trees, here is what you need to know. First, choose a location that gets sunlight, at least 5 to 6 hours per day. Different trees have different preferences, but most of these thrive in warm climates with regular water. You do not need much land. I have seen families plant these trees in spaces as small as a backyard. You do not need expensive fertilizers. In the beginning, I used compost from kitchen waste. I used natural manure from animals. I let the leaves fall and decompose naturally. This creates a cycle of nourishment that costs you nothing. Second, be prepared for the waiting period. This is where most people fail. They plant a tree and expect it to produce immediately. When it does not, they lose interest. But this is the test of faith. This is where you learn that some of the best things in life cannot be rushed. During the waiting period, while the trees are young, you can plant other crops around them, crops that mature faster. This gives you income while you wait for the trees to mature. You can grow vegetables, herbs, or smaller plants in the space between the young trees. This is called intercropping, and it is a way to multiply your benefits. Third, remember that these trees are not just financial investments. They are living beings that depend on you. They need water, especially during dry seasons. They need weeding. They need protection from pests and diseases. But here is the beautiful thing. As these trees grow and become established, they need less and less care. An old mango tree can survive on rainwater alone for most of the year. A mature coconut tree is nearly impossible to kill. Nature rewards patience with abundance. And fourth, understand that these trees are your legacy. They are your voice speaking into the future. When you plant a mango tree at 25 years old, you are essentially saying, I will not be here in 150 years. But this tree will be, and it will feed people who never knew me. There is something sacred about that. There is something that heals the soul when you understand that your simple action today will create ripples of benefit for centuries to come. Now I want to speak to something deeper. In my life, I have watched the world change dramatically. I have seen villages become cities. I have seen forests disappear. I have seen people become disconnected from the earth, from growing their own food, from understanding how life actually sustains itself. And I have seen the consequences. I have seen people become anxious because they depend entirely on money, and money can be taken away. They depend on systems that can fail. But I have also seen people who are planted in the soil, quite literally, who are calm, who are secure, who know that no matter what happens in the world, they have something real, something growing, something that will feed them and their families. This is my wish for you. Plant these trees, not because you need the money, though the money will come. Plant them because you need to remember that you are connected to the earth. Plant them because you need to know what it feels like to create something that will outlive you. Plant them because your children and grandchildren deserve to inherit something more valuable than a bank account. They deserve to inherit roots. They deserve to inherit the knowledge of how to take care of something living. They deserve to look at a tree and know, my grandfather planted this. My family's blood is in this soil. I am 90 years old. I do not have much time left in this world. I know this. But I also know that the trees I have planted will continue to grow. They will continue to give. They will continue to speak my name long after I am gone, not with words, but with abundance, with health, with life. And that is how I will live forever, not through fame or money or monuments, but through these simple trees that ask nothing but patience and care, and give back everything that matters. To anyone watching this right now, I am asking you to consider something. What will you leave behind? What gift will you plant today that will benefit someone you will never meet? What seed will you sow with the faith that the future is real and worth investing in? The 5 trees I have shared with you are not just trees. They are teachers. They are providers. They are proof that the best investments are the ones that grow quietly, steadily, naturally, and eternally. Start today if you can. Even 1 tree is enough to begin. Find some land. Find a seed. Find your faith. And plant. And then wait. And then watch. And then share. And then your children will thank you. And your grandchildren will thank you. And centuries from now, people you never knew will eat fruit from trees you planted. That is the real salary. That is the real wealth. That is the real legacy. I have shared with you the secrets that took me 90 years to understand. I have given you the wisdom that was passed to me by my grandfather, that I passed to my father, that I have passed to my children, and that I hope you will pass to yours. This is not just information. This is a gift. Treat it with respect. Act on it with courage. And build your forest of legacy. Thank you for listening to an old man's story. Thank you for caring enough about your future, about your family's future, about the world's future, to sit with me today and let these words touch your heart. If these words have meant something to you, if you feel that stirring in your chest that tells you these trees are calling to you, please subscribe to this channel. Join our community of people who believe that the best investments are the ones that grow in the soil, the ones that heal bodies, the ones that connect us to each other and to the earth. Subscribe so that we can keep sharing this old wisdom, this ageless knowledge, this way of thinking about life that our ancestors understood so deeply. Let us together keep this light burning, this knowledge alive, this connection to the earth strong. Subscribe and grow with us. The future is waiting. The earth is waiting. Your legacy is waiting. Plant your first tree today.